Chris and OMD, it is so good to see you guys here tonight. I do have a little something for you guys, something that's kind of come across my mind over the last couple of days. Now, recently I applied for a position with a company. I'm not going to say where or what right now, but I'm just going to say that I've applied for another part-time job because, well, thanks, Trudeau. Okay. You're going to leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to a few people and asked them if I could use them as a reference. And they said, yeah, sure. Sounds good. Go ahead. I'm like, awesome. Thank you so much. I got a call. I got the position, the part-time position. So yay. I'm very happy and thankful for that. But none of my references were actually called. The same thing has happened to me with the passport office when I've tried to go, when I've renewed my passport or gotten, they kind of ask for references. None of my references have ever been called. What's the point of asking for references if they're not even going to be called? What do you guys think?
I think it's just so that they can see that, okay, they have people that are going to vouch for them, vouch for their work ethic.
Okay.
And I know because I just asked you to return the favor. I know I've referenced you numerous times in the past.
Yeah.
For the passport office, which they're not going to call you. I know they're not calling you.
Right. Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. It's really weird.
In all the jobs that I've all applied for, only once have I ever had one reference out of the 20 to 30 references I've probably used over my entire life has ever been called back. Only once has that ever happened.
Oh, that's insane. I know that I myself have been asked probably about 100 times to be used as a reference. And then I think I've been called maybe 4 times. Loser. Loser. Okay, Loser Prince. I get it. I see what you did there. We are a bunch of guys with Turnbuckle Talk over on Turnbuckle Studios. We talk professional wrestling, and that is what we were talking about. It's good to have you here. Thank you so much for popping in. If you're a fan of pro wrestling, stick around and talk with us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Best is having the leg issues again.
Actually, I wasn't. I was going to say something prior to the story. I was just going to say you posed a really good question, Carl, about that about the references, and that's something I can probably bring up to my employment counselor that I'm meeting tomorrow afternoon about that.
Right. Right. Yeah, go ahead, do it. And then come back next week and let's talk about that. Before we start our actual broadcast, let's talk about that next week and what your counselor says about those situations. Loser Prince, it's not so big over here in the UK. Yeah, you know what? The WWE is actually trying to correct that and make a difference when it comes to professional wrestling over in the UK. So just be patient. Triple H is going to be doing exactly what he needs to do. You finally found it. Good. I'm so glad you did. You found us over on Twitch. I love it.
Yes, with the globalization of everything after the success of Backlash on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Apparently, Nick Khan texted Triple H with one word, and that was stadium.
Right.
As well, apparently they are now open to listening to offers on WrestleMania in London, provided the right bid can.
Well, that's exactly it, right? With professional wrestling, it's all about the bids. It's all about who can bid for it and make it the most profitable, not only for the WWE, but also for the area itself, right? So you need to make sure that it's going to be profitable all the way around. And I think with this new evolution era, yeah, that's what we're calling it. Everyone says the Triple H era. Screw that. It's the evolution era. Bulkster, good to see you, brother. I think that it is going to be a lot easier for us to see these shows going around the world and not just staying in North America. I personally am okay with that because you know what else they consider international? Canada.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
And I want to go back to your guys' use of the word bid. There's only one stadium in the UK that probably won't get WrestleMania, and that's Wembley Stadium. Wembley Stadium, as we know, you have to pay to use that stadium.
Right.
That is the same with Madison Square Garden in New York.
But MSG is throwing out bids for Mania too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I could still see Wembley trying to bid on it to have WrestleMania followed by All In later in the year.
Right. It's possible. It is very possible.
They had great success with SummerSlam at Wembley all those years ago. And
yeah,
I mean, we touched on it already, the international success. We've already had a PLE in Australia, France. We've got Saudi Arabia coming up in just a week and a half. And then we've still got Bash in Berlin to come later this summer.
Right. I was just going to say Germany, Berlin is there. Money in the Bank is going to be in Toronto, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, so much going on with that. If you guys have not checked out Good Pods as of yet, take a look at the ticker down below, goodpods.com/podcasts/turnbuckle-talk- what does that say there? Holy crap. 264-524. Those numbers are small. I can't change that, unfortunately, but we would love if you would go over and download the Good Pods app, which gives you access to a large number of podcasts in audio format so that you can take Turnbuckle Talk with you on the go. You can even leave us a rating on there. We would hope that you'd give us a 5-star. And that pushes us up in the rankings. Currently, at last check yesterday, we were sitting at number 4 out of the top 100 indie podcasts, indie pro wrestling podcasts on Good Pods. Help us get to number 1. Our number 1 story that we're going to talk about this week has to do with Triple H. We've talked a little bit about Triple H in this Triple H era that's going on. How about we talk about some clarification that Triple H gave us from the Backlash post-show press conference? Chris Best, I'm going to let you handle this because you're the one that found the article, took a look at things, and has a little bit more knowledge on the situation than I do. So go ahead, take that away.
Okay, are we talking about his discrediting of a certain SRS? Or
no, we're talking. We didn't discuss anything about that story. We discussed a story about Mr. Drew Gulak.
Okay, yes. Okay, so there's a lot of stories coming out about Drew Gulak right now, and it's making me want to turn and maybe believe Ronda Rousey a little bit based on the comments that she said. But right now, it has been indicated that Drew Gulak, in fact, was not released by the WWE. They let his contract go. They let it run out. And there's now been a plethora, there's that word again, of backstage incidences where he's been bullying wrestlers. He's been doing things. He's been going into business for himself in the ring, attacking wrestlers who are injured, attacking the areas that they're injured, which is very, very, very unprofessional in my eyes.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
He's geez, what's sorry, my eyes just went all blurry here. An incident reportedly occurred at the 2023 NXT taping where Gulak purposely spiked an opponent in a match, after which Shawn Michaels stepped forward and verbally reprimanded him on this. And if you piss off a guy like Shawn Michaels, there's the door, buddy. Get out, you know?
Right. But we all know that Shawn Michaels is also somebody who understands that, you know, things happen. And that maybe this was an accidental situation. So Shawn Michaels is somebody who is, you know, willing to give that extra chance, if you know what I mean. Right.
Yeah. But the bullying allegations don't even stop there. There's another it's only saying NXT sources, and I'm sure that's only because the people involved want to keep their names, you know, out of the limelight here.
Yeah.
But they're saying that he's utilized intimidation tactics to deter talent from reporting these bullying incidences in the locker room. That to me screams that he knew what he was doing.
Right. And you know it's kind of sad about the situation is that I don't think that this is, how do I say this without coming off weird? He's a 19-year veteran in the business. Okay. What has he really been known for? There really hasn't been very much, right? And is this maybe a retaliation?
The PowerPoint presentations.
Right? Yeah. Maybe the, you know, like this is kind of almost like a self retaliation, I guess you could say, where he's going, I should be more than this. I am more than this. I am better than this. And if I start to show that and you know, kind of throw around my cockles a little bit, then maybe I'll get that respect that I know or I feel I deserve. Right. I don't know. That's only speculation on my part. I'm just trying to think of the other side of things. Like psychologically, you know, and especially in this business, your mind gets messed up, man. It gets messed up terribly, whether that's from psychological issues, concussions, it doesn't matter. Your mind, drugs. Okay, I'll put it out there. Drugs and alcohol. Even when I was wrestling was a huge thing that really messes you up. And I wonder if maybe that's kind of something that's going on.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know. I'm wondering though if the Ronda Rousey statement does play into the allegations against former bosses as well, and if they're just sort of trying to get rid of all of that. I mean, I was going to touch on the bullying and intimidation tactics because we know that Bryan Danielson was also known for that in the locker rooms at times. And I mean, we know that they had a storyline where they were each other's coach.
Right.
And there's always going to be that locker room bully. Now, thankfully, like on the indies, I never experienced a true locker room bully for the few shows I did.
You're lucky.
Yeah.
And you're right. You only did a few shows. So
yeah.
I can kind of understand that. Yeah. Yeah. When you're in it for a decade.
Yeah.
These things happen. Yeah.
I just can't. I just don't stand for bullying, period.
No.
I mean, coming from someone who was bullied in elementary school, I can't fucking stand a bully, period.
You and me both. And I mean, we've all sat here and said it. You know, it's that whole, I know they haven't been affiliated with it, but the Be a Star campaign that they did and the anti-bullying, but we all know that wrestling is bullying just under the guise of theatrics.
Well, I mean, during that time, during that whole campaign, they had the biggest bully in professional wrestling still employed, that being one JBL.
Yep.
Yeah, he's still employed with the company.
Yes. Now, we also know that, you know, I say that under the guise of theatrics, but these are all storylines that are pitched and brought from creative
So,
and the wrestlers are discussing it in the back. Yes, I'm breaking down the fourth wall so that they can have, permission and know sort of where to go with a certain wrestler in that rivalry and not to.
Chris, you were about to say something.
I was going to say another big bully we always had, but thank God he got canned, was Bill DeMott. Bill DeMott, in my opinion, was the worst one of them all.
Could have been.
Yep.
It's very subjective for a lot of people, right? Like there's a lot of people that'll feel or believe that somebody is being a bully or being a bully to them. Some people have thicker skin, I guess, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, for me, I was bullied as a child. When it came to the professional wrestling world, I did not allow myself to feel that vulnerable again. So my mindset kind of changed, and I know that it's not a good change in the mindset, but my mindset kind of went towards, well, maybe this is just how this person is, or maybe this is just their training style, that, well, they've trained all these other people who have been successful. So they may possibly be doing something right.
Yeah.
But
it's all subjective, unfortunately. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
For
but
me,
if you remember,
sorry, Beth.
If you remember correctly, a lot of the Bill DeMott ones that came out were borderline sexual harassment, though, against some of the people. So
yes, and those are totally different. A sexual, accusation like that is definitely totally different. Yes. But just a pushing a guy to their limits inside the ring while training and, making them vomit because they've been working out so hard. Some people see that as bullying.
Yep.
Other people see that as, nope, they're training. And I'm not defending anybody either way because that is not my place to do so. I will not be subjected to defending any of these people for any of their actions. I just like to see things from a different perspective, an angle, much like our good friend Chris Parrish does as well.
Yeah, I mean, like right now, we're only hearing one side of the story. You're right, Carl. At some point, we will need to hear Mr. Drew Gulak's side of the story.
Right. You know what? We have another situation that's happened where we maybe kind of have three sides of a story, but still can't tell what the truth actually is in this. The situation I'm talking about right now involves one Mr. Ric Flair. Somebody who is flaring his muscles and trying to put his genitalia out there to say mine's bigger than yours. Or is that actually what happened? So a news release came out regarding Ric Flair at a Paisano's Stone Oven Pizza restaurant in Gainesville, Florida. It's claimed that he was asked to leave after a dispute with a kitchen manager over using a restroom. Now it's really weird, but it then says that a manager of a sister Paisanos claimed that Flair was drunk and disorderly, as well as swinging furniture around. Video evidence proved that the staff apparently, according to the co-owner, acted accordingly, refusing to elaborate any further on a video that has been made available that was posted to TikTok yesterday afternoon. You can see Flair in the video chastising members of the staff, claiming to not have done anything. His treatment was bad for their reputation. And just to watch social media tomorrow, insulting, kind of insulting a staff member. He brought up the bathroom incident.
Not kind of, full-fledged. I watched the video.
I've seen the video as well. I watched it several times.
Yeah.
In the heat of the moment, and if you are standing for yourself and what you feel is right, yeah, sometimes these words are going to come out, and it's going to sound as though it is insulting. Sometimes you're just trying to prove your points. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're trying to insult them. Much like the staff member is saying that Flair did to the kitchen manager by accosting him and cussing at him. Now here's a situation that kind of throws where he's kind of throwing his weight around a little bit. He offered $1,000 tip to another staff member there to tell the employee he was arguing with to kiss his ass. Yeah. It got so heated to the point that there were other patrons inside the restaurant that were kind of like, dude, seriously, let's take it outside. The video is out there. You can find it. It has been released. Just like Parrish said, it has been released. It surfaced today. Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think about this crap?
This was, in my opinion, this is just Ric Flair acting like an entitled buffoon. And as you said, throwing his weight around, basically the whole, I'm Ric Flair and you're not. Yes, he said that this was one of the worst experiences he's ever had on social media today. And he would not recommend this restaurant if you're in the Gainesville area.
Right.
He knocked on the door because the kitchen manager was taking too long. Well, what if the guy has IBS? What if the guy had something that had gone bad in the kitchen? You hope it hasn't happened, but get off your high horse. You're 74 years old. This is a case of entitlement, senility, and dementia. Go home, make the money off of your CBD line, off of your Woo Energy, and just let the residuals roll in and enjoy time with your wife.
Best?
This actually reminded me, okay, so prior to the podcast, for everyone who's listening, I was talking with Carl and OMD about movies that I had worked in, and I'm reminded of a time on The Masked Saint, okay, where I encountered somebody who had done only extra work, not even like main star quality work, who was totally trying to flex her muscle through this whole time. And my friend Keith, I'm going to throw his name out there because he's a good friend of mine, Keith Bowser. I'm sure you guys may have met him a time or two. Keith was sitting beside me, and he just looks at her like, "You're nobody. What are you doing?" You know?
Oh goodness.
But no, this thing, like, Rick, come on, man. You're better than this. Like, seriously.
Well, we would hope so.
We would hope so, but I mean, I've read his autobiography. I'm sure you have as well, Carl. I don't know about you, Best.
I have. I'm looking at it right now on my book stand right now. So,
but from everything that he said he would get up to back in the 70s and 80s with his behavior then, and despite having to file for bankruptcy 4 times, and he's on his 7th marriage, it's now retire, live off the residuals from your other businesses and other endeavors, because now you're making good money. You don't need to be the nature boy. You don't need to go out there and be Ric Flair. You can go out there and be Richard Flairing.
Right.
Okay. But okay. So, like, I'm wondering if that's just Rick living up to his gimmick, because I know that there's a lot of wrestlers, who still live their gimmick despite not having wrestled in like 20, 30 years. I know that the Bushwhackers were guilty of that for a time.
Yep.
I would say Jacques Rougeau, but he's not. He's actually really cool.
Yeah, he is. Oh, yeah.
There's another one I'm trying to... Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan totally still lives his gimmick.
Oh, 100% he does. Yeah. Throwback. Good to see you, brother. Thank you for coming in. Day's been going well. Appreciate you.
Yeah. But at this, I don't think Rick understands that time is gone. That time is past now.
Right.
We can see through the bullshit, Rick.
All I can think of inside of my head, and I just keep hearing it play over and over and over and over again, is, like, I don't want to grow up. I'm Ric Flair, bitch. Like, that's I don't know why, but that's there continuously, right? I don't know. I'm very thankful that that I'm not that far gone. I can differentiate between who I am and my character. I can differentiate. I can get through that. I understand.
Now here's the positive side of living your gimmick, because there was one man who did it and it was funny and it was awesome, but he also knew when to stop being the gimmick. And that is your favorite wrestler, Carl. Sheiky baby, Iron Sheik.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
He knew when to stop being the gimmick and start being Kosor Davari.
Right. Right. And sometimes it's a very fine line, and it's blurred almost, right?
Yes.
Like, there are times where I am going somewhere and I got documents to sign, and I'll start signing Carl Carafel, and I'm like, wait, nope, sorry. And then I have to fix it, because that's just what I did. I was used to just signing that way. And now I have to kind of revert back to, nope, I have to use my real name, and that's how I have to sign. Yeah. So I get it. Sometimes even just your brain, right? Like, I've had people, oh, what's your name? I'm Carl Carafel. And I'm like, wait, sorry. Nope.
Yeah.
Right. It's yeah. I don't have split personality disorder. I don't.
No.
I swear I don't. I'm just,
Hey, Carl, there have been times where under He Who Shall Not Be Named, where I had to do multiple gimmicks, and I would sometimes forget which gimmick am I signing under.
Right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and I mean, let's not forget that under him, and I probably knew him better than either of you guys did outside of the wrestling industry.
Right.
Where I'd have to keep kayfabe for him in real life, because he's trying to live a different gimmick, different character, and it wasn't even wrestling related.
Right. Right. You know what? To go along with all of this, you know nothing. Hell is only a word. Reality is much, much worse. And if you don't understand that, our good friend Draven over at Wrestle Covers on X gave us the decoded message that came from the latest QR code, as well as the video, where inside it says, soon you will understand that all we ever wanted was a chance. I never would have been able to figure out that decoded message piece thing at all, and I'm glad that somebody out there was able to do so, and I'm glad that he put it out there. You're scratching your head. Were you trying to figure it out and had a hell of a time doing it?
Dude, well, you saw me during the broadcast last night trying to figure it out, and I'm like, you know what? I got to put my phone down, because Punk was on the screen at the time too. And afterwards, like after we had all hung up, I did, because I can do these word puzzles normally. It basically looked like a Wheel of Fortune style puzzle to me.
Right.
But I for the life of me, am glad that somebody else figured it out because I just could not get it.
Yes, I did see the video this afternoon while I was sitting at my desk at work, as it had been posted on social media on Facebook.
Right.
So it was an interesting watch. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens when this group debuts.
Right.
That's the key
And now-
word is when. And I noticed there are other people that have noticed in there that during the when all the letters and all the 25, I froze up, didn't I?
Oh, yes.
Terribly again. Yeah.
Okay, so as I was saying, there's a okay, so there's a bunch of letters that flash up during that video, and there's a Roman numeral that flashes up that says XXV, which is 25, which could possibly mean May 25th, King and Queen of the Ring. Maybe we see them.
Huh.
Interesting.
Because it kind of flashes up similar to the Save Us Y2J stuff.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, that was so ahead of its time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was.
Oh.
And I mean, now we're getting a new cast of characters for this group outside of what we had originally heard or been led to believe. We are now being listed with, I mean, Rowan is the one name that's been constant.
Right.
But now we are being treated to names like Nikki Cross.
Mm-hmm.
One for all of us in Joe Gacy.
Right. Yeah, that's one that I'm very, very much so hoping for and looking forward to.
Yes, and the last one is escaping me at the moment, but it would be Uncle
Dexter
Howie,
Loomis
Dexter Loomis. There it is.
and Alexa Bliss.
No, I did not see Alexa Bliss. It was Nikki Cross replacing Alexa in that group.
No, the rumor that I'm reading, it's both of them.
That's what I've seen too.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've seen it with Alexa out, and it's Nikki in that role.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm very interested to find out what exactly is going on, and that's the reason for these QR codes that keep on coming up. They're keeping us intrigued, man. We still don't know. And what okay, so maybe I'm just thinking about this too much. Maybe I'm looking too far into this, but what is with the bird? What is with there's got to be something having to do with that bird, with that raven.
It's a buzzard. Follow the buzzards.
Yes.
That is not a buzzard.
No, it's not. I wonder
that's a crow or a raven. That is not a buzzard.
But I wonder if that means could somebody else be on their way back with that group? Nevermore.
I doubt it. It crossed my mind for about 2 seconds, and then I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah, he's very heavily involved with MLW right now.
Yeah, he definitely is. And I don't even want to see him back in the WWE. I don't want to see him doing anything like that. This group that's going to be coming out, it's like they have been doing so much good stuff with this right now. Yeah, I don't want to see that. I don't know. This I'm stuck on this bird for some reason. And I don't know why, but I am stuck on it. And
I wonder if it's got
not driving me insane, but
I wonder if it does have something to do with Bill Skarsgård's remake of The Crow.
I couldn't tell you. Gentlemen, I'll be right back. I got to go take care of something right quick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But the other thing that I wonder is, does maybe Steve Borden come back in a managerial capacity?
You see, that's... I didn't think about that, or maybe I did. I kind of did very quickly again as well, but it just didn't really stick for me.
Right.
I know that Sting or Steve Borden has done a lot within professional wrestling already that we really don't need to have him there in a managerial capacity anymore.
No.
I think it's coming right down to it. We're talking about Bo Dallas, Rotunda. We're talking about him. He will be the Uncle Howdy, or the leader, the Dreadmere of everything that's going on. He's the leader.
Yeah.
At this point, he is the leader, no matter what.
Yes.
So I don't know. I really don't know. It's very, very interesting though. Have you been actually following along with all of these QR codes and seeing everything and seeing all the videos?
I get them. I have to wait until the next day because I cannot open these QR codes on my phone to go through. So I wait until the next day on social media or later that night to follow them.
Okay.
So it's sort of been interesting. And there were things that I missed. Like I missed the XXV Roman numeral of 25, as Mr. Best pointed out.
See, I did too. I didn't even see that.
So, but at the same time, it's hard when I'm sitting at my work desk watching these videos and then trying to focus on the counter in case a customer comes in. And
oh, of course. Yeah. It definitely will be very interesting to see what happens and what comes of this. Just as we were like so very excited when it came to, the Fiend, Bray Wyatt.
Yes.
To all of the stuff that they were doing with that as well, with the QR codes and yeah, it was different. It was catchy. It was edgy. And I loved every single minute of it.
Yes.
Something that I love when it comes to the world of professional wrestling is making memories. Now, making memories within the world of professional wrestling is different for other people. For some, it is just going out there and performing. That is them allowing memories to be made. For other people, like someone that I'm a fan of, that I know a lot of other people aren't a fan of, but Matt Cardona. I don't know if you heard about this, OMD, but Matt Cardona actually stayed to meet fans after he tore his pec. Did you hear about this?
I did not.
Okay.
I knew he had torn his pec. I've seen the scars from the surgery.
Right. Yes. So, he went through, he was at an indie show. He was with Reality of Wrestling, which he says, by the way, has a great setup, a great facility, that he was blown away, almost like a mini performance center, but he was actually the main event. He clotheslined the guy over the top rope. He says, I'm not a doctor. I've never torn my pec before, but I was like, I tore my pec. I felt it right away. They finished the match right away, very quickly. And he goes to the back and he goes, what am I going to do? Go to the emergency room and tell them, or for them to tell me that it's a torn?
Right.
Or am I going to fly back to Orlando and be like, yep, okay, they're going to tell me that I've got a torn pec. He's like, you know what? We're here. We're here right now. I am who these people came to see. So after this show, he still went on to sell his merchandise for an hour. He took that time to meet with the fans, to take the pictures, to sign the autographs, to sell the merch for an hour after tearing his pectoral muscle. He says a good portion of the fans in the attendance came to meet me, and I didn't want to leave them hanging. He wasn't contractually obligated to stay either. He just wanted to do it. Damn.
Bravo. I applaud that. I absolutely applaud that.
I mean, talk about professionalism, you know, and then just wanting to stay and do it for the people, for the fans. Yeah. Matt Cardona. And Cody's even said this himself when he tore his pec and they still let him wrestle. They're like, it's not going to tear any more than it already is, you know?
Right. So true. So true. Yeah. I'm blown away by that. Like, the amount of crap that gets thrown at Matt Cardona, formerly known as Zack Ryder, woo, 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 you know it. He gets a lot of hate from the internet wrestling community. I've always enjoyed him.
Absolutely.
And I hope that this turns a few more people around.
And I want to share a personal story. I know you guys have heard it. A number of years ago, my friend and I took his 10-year-old son to his first wrestling show in Hamilton. My friend had just finished working night shift, and we got in the van and left at 7:30 in the morning to drive to Hamilton. We are having dinner at Swiss Chalet before the show. I look outside and I point to the kid. Look, who's that? As The Miz, Maurice, and Cardona were walking by. I took him outside to go and say hello, get an autograph, and all of them stopped. They asked if I wanted anything. I stepped back because this was for this kid's show.
Right.
This was his first show. I've met Miz. I wasn't, sold on Zack Ryder at the time, but I knew he was entertaining as hell. So it was like, no, this is his moment.
Right.
And so they stopped. They chatted with this 10-year-old kid for, 5-10 minutes, signed a couple of autographs.
Naturally.
And we went back. And it was great. So, I mean, because we caught them, as they're just out walking before the show. They're in the middle of the sidewalk, so they're not even in character. They're not in kayfabe.
Yeah, they're just them.
Yeah.
They're just the regular human like each and every one of us.
Exactly. Reminds me of the time you and I were at the hotel in Mount Pleasant for the concert.
Yeah.
Waiting for our room after 2 mistakes. And we're awestruck because here comes the lead singer of Five Finger Death Punch, says, "Hey guys," and we're just like, "Wait, was that?" And yeah.
Yep, sure.
OMD,
was.
That face you made is the same face I made at the Too Cold Scorpio show. Carl and I were just standing there talking. Too Cold just walks right by, and I stop, and I'm like, "Was that Too Cold who just walked by us?" Carl's like, "Yep, that sure was."
Yep, that was him. Almost said his real name. Yep, that was it. That was him. I almost did. I'm not going to.
Yeah,
not going.
But no, this is. See, I love hearing stories like that because it just furthers my love for Matt Cardona and The Miz. Now, The Miz on screen is an asshole. He's supposed to be. That's his character.
Right.
But off screen, I've heard nothing but good stuff about him. Nothing but good things about him.
Well, he is definitely a guy who's met him twice.
Yeah, he's definitely a dude that if I ran a promotion and he was looking for a place to wrestle, 110% I'm bringing him on board.
Oh, of course. Of course. All good things, at least for me, when it comes to Matt Cardona. And I just want to say, Matt, thank you. Heal up, get well soon, because we want to see more Matt Cardona.
We want to see you in WWE, Matt.
We want to make it happen. More belts on that shoulder and that waist.
That's right. That is right. Now, while this does not give us a belt in the end, it does give us a little bit of an accolade. It's something that we've been talking a little bit about over the last day. has been the King and Queen of the Ring tournament. We did see the first round happen May the 6th on Raw. So yes, yesterday we had Gunther taking on Sheamus, with Gunther moving on. Ricochet taking on Ilya Dragunov, with Ilya moving on. Jey Uso taking on Finn Balor, with Jey Uso moving on. Does anybody have any updates on the other ones? Are those happening like now, aren't they?
Those two matches were announced for live events this week.
This weekend.
Okay.
On Saturday, one of them is supposed to happen, from what I've heard.
Oh, I'm seeing that right now. Yes, WWE Live, May 11th and 12th. Okay. I see. All right. So that's the men's side. So at some point over the weekend, we're going to get the results of Kofi Kingston taking on Rey Mysterio in the King of the Ring first round.
Okay, so I'm
go ahead.
just going to put this out there. I don't want to read the results. I want to see.
Okay, just give yourself a second.
Watch.
Give yourself a second. You're going into your choppy phase again.
I saw that I froze.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So try again.
Yeah.
What were you saying there?
I was saying like this weekend, we know the matches are happening. WWE, I don't want to read the results. Throw the matches up on Twitter. Throw them up on YouTube. Let us know that they're there so that we can watch these matches and then see the results for ourselves.
Great idea. I love that idea.
Yes.
Yeah, I really do. I love that idea. We're going to see SmackDowns happening on Friday, May the 10th. If you guys are doing a show where you're going to be watching SmackDown, doing a watch-along type of situation, make sure that you guys are watching over there, because there is going to be first round matches there as well. AJ Styles taking on Randy Orton, Baron Corbin taking on Carmelo Hayes, LA Knight taking on Santos Escobar, and Bobby Lashley taking on Tama Tonga, which was a surprise to me.
Yes.
But I'm seeing Tama Tonga.
And a match I didn't know I wanted, but I want it.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
So as you've already referenced it, you can catch the SmackDown Security Division both on the Boar's Nest and here on Turnbuckle Studios, both YouTube and Twitch.
Beautiful.
With Chris Best and myself as your hosts. We hope that you can join us one Friday night for an episode, Mr. Carafel.
Very possible at some point. Maybe during quarterfinals or semifinals, maybe. Who knows?
It's an easy 2 hours to get through, and it's a fun 2 hours.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is. It is. We did see the first round for the women's, for the Queen of the Ring tournament happen, where we had Shayna Baszler taking on Zelina Vega. That will be happening during the live event on May the 12th or the 11th. On Raw, we did see Io Sky move on against Natalya. Lyra Valkyria defeating Dakota Kai to move on. And in one that I knew was going to happen, didn't want to happen, but kind of did happen. Either way, I'm okay with the results of this. Zoe Stark moves on against Ivy Nile. I love Ivy Nile. I do. Zoe Stark is great too, and I love seeing these newer competitors in action together. It's absolutely fantastic. Have you guys seen any information as of yet to the women's on SmackDown?
Nothing yet.
Me either.
But I gotta say,
until we started, I was searching.
Yeah. And I gotta say this, Carl, I kind of laughed because you left and Ivy Nile and Zoe Stark started.
Yeah. I know. I was getting messages sent to me with pictures of it, and I'm like, Good thing I've got it PVR'd. Good thing
Yeah.
I've got PVR, which is fantastic.
Now,
it was a decent little match. I liked it.
I'm going to be honest, though, is that, yes, there was a match in there that was a surprise on Raw last night, that being Chad Gable and Bronson Reed.
Okay.
Because it took away, and I don't want to say it took away because it was a fantastic match, but you could have had one of those other 2 first-round matchups completed. Also, the same thing with the Judgment Day and then CM Punk's 10-minute promo as well. You could have had that other match. Now, we know that there's other stories that they have to keep up on to keep us in tune so that we are following everything.
Right.
But I think some of these other matches ran a lot longer than normal. Like I'm going to guess that Dragunov Ricochet probably went about 5 minutes longer than it should have.
And it was only 14 minutes, dude.
Wow.
It was only a 14-minute match. Gunther Sheamus went 21 minutes and Balor Uso went 13 and a half minutes.
Yeah. Wow.
So really not very long matches.
So is this a thing for future King of the Ring tournaments that maybe they need to reintroduce the time limit rule that they used to have?
I hope not, because then we're going to get everything all jam-packed into, this 10-minute time that is not going to allow them enough time.
Well, the original
I'm not going to get a good
15
match.
minutes,
It's going to be rushed. What was that?
The original rule was 15 minutes in the opening round.
Right. and we're essentially at that. We had the one match that went 21 minutes.
Yeah.
The others are under the 15, and I think that it was great. They did really fantastic. Ricochet Dragunov was a picture perfect matchup.
It was.
Man.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, my suspicions seem to be correct, and I'm not necessarily the most happy about it. The quarterfinals are going to be happening on May 13th and May 17th. The semifinals are going to be happening May 20th and May 24th, with the finals happening May 25th at the King and Queen of the Ring. So we're going to have one final match for men, one final match for women on the King and Queen of the Ring PLE, as well as Becky Lynch taking on Liv Morgan for the Women's Championship, and Sami Zayn taking on Chad Gable and Bronson Reed for the Intercontinental Championship. Dude, I wish that we would have had the semifinals on May 25th. Give us the semifinals and then the finals.
Yeah.
That would have been beautiful.
Yeah.
But instead, what the F, David Blaine?
I was literally going to ask you if you would have felt fine with a Final Four situation going into the PLE.
Yeah, man, doing the semifinals, 100%. If we could have had, these two matches, these two competitors are now facing each other. These two competitors are facing each other. The winners of those two now have to muster up the strength to be able to become that king or queen of the ring, all in the same night, is exactly what I would have wanted, and that is not what I'm getting.
No, and I'm just as disappointed because I'm a big fan of the one night event, one night tournament for it. And I mean, it could be for anything. Like when they did the women's title match on Raw, I've already admitted that I thought that Rumble Battle Royal was rushed. I think it should have been done tournament style. They could have gone to what AEW did with the Continental Classic. You could have included SmackDown Superstars. You could have included NXT in that to showcase everybody.
I'm trying to think I was trying to think of the last time I enjoyed a one-night tournament, and it's actually a very underrated tournament that I remember very well. Do you guys remember after SummerSlam 98 when Triple H injured his knee and had to forfeit the Intercontinental title? They had a one-night tournament on Raw for the Intercontinental title. and
Okay.
it was very well done. It came down to X-Pac and Ken Shamrock in the final two, with Ken Shamrock winning the Intercontinental title. The entire Raw was surrounded on that tournament, and it was a really well-built tournament, I thought.
Yes. And there was the one that Jesse Ventura, when he was the guest host, they did the Gold Rush tournament that was one night that Randy Orton won, even though he wasn't supposed to be in it.
Right.
But those were,
Right.
one night. And that's what it needs to get back to.
My one takeaway from when Jesse Ventura guest hosted Raw was how bad he roasted Vince on commentary.
It's always a good time when that happens.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, King and Queen of the Ring is going to be happening. Maybe not to how we would have liked it or liked to have seen it, but it will be happening. And we may do a PLE show, possibly. We haven't confirmed everything as of yet, but we will definitely let you guys know in the socials.
Absolutely. If you gentlemen will give me just a moment, I will be right back.
Well, we may as well just talk about something else and wait here until OMD comes back, or we're just going to do our showstopper segment while he's gone.
Yeah, I'm now thinking about going back and watching that Raw for the Intercontinental title, that IC title tournament now, because I remembered just how good X-Pac versus Ken Shamrock in the finals was. The story was built around X-Pac not being able to win the big one, and the corporation trying to stop DX from, claiming gold again.
Mm-hmm.
So throwing Ken Shamrock in there and then just dominating the hell out of X-Pac. Well, X-Pac actually put up a fight on his own too.
Well, yeah.
Just
yeah.
Overall fantastic.
Oh, it's good, and I think having these tournaments are fantastic, and I wish that we could get back to them. These one night tournaments, and I mean you could even do gauntlet matches type of situations, right? And that's almost a tournament in its own that could very well work and work nicely, like for the women's championship.
That's I'm still on the side that while I am a fan of battle royals, and I did enjoy that battle royal because I'm a sucker for battle royals, still would have been best if it was a gauntlet match, in my opinion.
Right. And gauntlet matches are actually very, very cool. I really do think that they don't get enough praise because, I mean, trying to go through, all these different people all, in one night is craziness. Sure, you might kind of get, if you're one of the people that are in the end or near the end, you got a little bit of a better chance, right? But I mean, you never know. You really, really never know. While we're waiting for OMD, take a look at this. The official Turnbuckle Studio shop is open. Official merchandise from all the favorite shows, plus merchandise you can only find here. Stuff from Turnbuckle Studios. Carl Carafel unboxes. The Boar's Nest with Bubba Duke. Miscellaneous products that you can only find here. Beats and beatdowns. And Turnbuckle Talk. Find all this merchandise exclusively at carlcarafel.redbubble.com.
On his feet.
And as we come back, we are met by OMD, and we can have our showstopper segment happen for this week. OMD, I hope that you are with us. If you are muted. So we need you to unmute your microphone so that we can talk about a little bit of Maple Leaf Wrestling. Now, this is not a legitimate graphic or logo for Maple Leaf Wrestling. It's something that I came up with, and I thought that was pretty cool, and I figured we would use that. But why are we talking about Maple Leaf Wrestling? Well, because a Canadian is looking to take Maple Leaf Wrestling back, looking to bring it back. And that person we're talking about is former TNA president Scott D'Amore. I am hoping that this is what this means, that he's looking to be getting back into the wrestling business. A recent trademark filed on April 16th for Maple Leaf Wrestling has been approved by the United States Patent and Trademark Office. I'm hoping that this becomes a trademark and patented in Canada as well. Maple Leaf Wrestling was a Canadian promotion founded back in 1930s, and you kind of came through the gauntlets of the National Wrestling Alliance, and then kind of being bought afterwards as well by other companies. I'm excited about this, if this is exactly what is happening. Do you guys have any other information instead of what I've shown you guys or given to you guys already?
Outside of what I saw last night, which was that Scott D'Amore had filed to patent with the trademark office for Maple Leaf Wrestling. Mm-hmm. It was originally based out of Windsor, which is where Scott D'Amore is from. I'm going to guess It sounds like Border City Wrestling is no longer a thing in Windsor, which is very disappointing if that is the case. But there's always room for more wrestling. Scott D'Amore wanted to get more budget for TNA. So hopefully with this filing, with the money that he had behind him for TNA from a major bank, we are going to get Maple Leaf Wrestling on a much larger scale than the independent shows that we were used to seeing televised back in the day.
Right.
So this actually hits a little close to home for us. I'm not sure if you guys know, but back in the territory days, our city was a part of Maple Leaf Wrestling, that territory.
Yes, it was.
So in the 60s and 70s, we got a lot of wrestling because of that up here. Thank God for thank you to the Tunney family for doing that, because around that time, that's when Frank Tunney took over.
Yes.
I'm very excited about this because of growing up and watching Maple Leaf Wrestling on TV. Not when it was a territory, though, when it was under the WWE, WWF at the time.
Yes.
OMD and I were talking about this yesterday. Saturdays at noon on CTV was when we were able to watch it.
Yep.
And it was just what it was for us here was it was WWF wrestling that took place in Canadian arenas. That was what made it exciting for us to watch it. I am so looking forward to seeing Scott D'Amore bring this back. And if it does go to TV, if he wants to keep with the Maple Leaf aspect of it, bring in some of those Canadian wrestlers, bring in our friend Chris Parrish, put him on the show. I'm gonna throw him out there. Put Sean Martins on TV. He's a heat magnet and a half, and he's great to watch wrestling. Anybody from the CWE, call them up and bring them in, Scott.
Can we get a Maple Leaf Wrestling venue here?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like I said,
could we make it a base of operations?
I mean, like I said, our city was under the Maple Leaf Wrestling brand under the territory system way back in the day.
It was. Yeah, 100% it was. You know what, OMD? I think that you're kind of on to something there. Maybe in time, Maple Leaf Wrestling might become territorial, and we might be able to get branches or divisions of Maple Leaf Wrestling in other cities. And where we are technically is almost like the center hub for all across Canada. And if you're going to have a company name like Maple Leaf Wrestling, well, that encompasses all of Canada. So I would be very much so excited for that. I would be an advocate for that. I would even lend my hand to Scott D'Amour if he wanted help as well. Just putting it out there, Scott, if you kind of like any of the logo that I did, you could always hit me up and we could talk. Yeah, I could even tweak it. I could do some other things with that logo for you if you want to.
You also got two commentators
who are ready, willing, and able to work.
Two commentators right here. Scott, just putting it out there.
The possibilities are endless.
Just looking this over, I'm ecstatic because I love what Scott D'Amour does in the wrestling business. He's got a mind for it, and he's got a mind for Canadian wrestling at that too. So
yes.
Yeah, he definitely does.
I'm excited to see the talent that he brings in. If this is going to be a show or a promotion, I mean,
this is still very young, very infant right now. So we don't know what is going to be happening or what exactly is happening with the name of Maple Leaf Wrestling. He may even, have trademarked that to start a new faction, possibly.
Yeah.
But we don't know. So we are definitely going to be watching this situation as it continues to happen. And I don't think that this is something that's going to be on everybody's radar, so to speak. Guys, do you have anything else to add to that tonight?
I do not.
I'm just looking over this news story, and it's getting me more and more giddy for Canadian wrestling.
Right. We want to thank each and every one of you for being here with us. Chris Best, please give the people your socials.
All right, you can find me at youtube.com at CBRS Entertainment, twitch.tv, CBRS_entertainment, threads.net at CBestFilms83, Facebook.com, Chris.best83, TikTok.com, CBRS.entertainment. You can look for me Friday night with the latest episode of WWE 2K24 My Rise. As well, Saturday night, I will be debuting Uncharted 4 for Saturday Night Gaming. Monday nights, you can catch me at 8 p.m. Eastern alongside Carl Carafel, OMD, Chris Parrish, and Bubba Duke as we do the Raw Patrol. Friday nights, going back again, you can also catch me and OMD as we do the SmackDown division, where we're going to be watching and reacting to SmackDown. Next Tuesday as well, 8:05 Eastern alongside Carl Carafel and OMD, you can catch me doing Turnbuckle Talk.
OMD.
Well, the people can find me on the Book of Faces, Daniel Harisic, HRYCYK, on Snapchat, One Man Dynamic, capitals OM and D, on Twitch at OMD17, and on Discord at OMD6370. Visually, you can catch me right here every Monday with Carl Carafel, Chris Best, Chris Parrish, Bubba Duke, as Mr. Best has already alluded to, with the Raw Patrol. Right here every Tuesday with my two cohorts for Turnbuckle Talk. Every Thursday on the Boar's Nest with Bubba Duke, and now on Fridays with the SmackDown Security Division with my co-host Chris Best.
And looking for me, you can find me at my link tree, linktr.ee/Carl Carafel. That is linktr.ee/KARLKARUFEL. We want to thank each and every one of you for being here with us for this edition of Turnbuckle Talk, episode number 371, Maple Leaf Wrestling. Remember, everyone, the world's a scary place. Take care of each other.